This is episode number 36 of the Feed Me, Fuel Me podcast with our special guest, Benjamin Bunn, owner of Cigar City CrossFit. Welcome to the Feed Me, Fuel Me podcast. My name is Jeff Thornton, alongside my co-host, Michael Anders. Each week, we bring you an inspiring person or message related to our three pillars of success: manifestation, business, fitness, and nutrition. Our intent is to enrich, educate, and empower our audience to take action, control, and accountability for their decisions. Thank you for allowing us to join you on your journey. Now let's get started. We would like to thank our sponsor, FitAid. If you're serious about your performance and recovery, go with FitAid. FitAid is the perfect pre- and post-workout supplement product. If you're dragging pre-workout, FitAid contains natural ingredients to give you that boost and pick-me-up you need without the jittery effect. And if you're looking for recovery after your workout, FitAid has branched-chain amino acids, or BCAAs, L-glutamine, L-arginine, vitamin C and D3, glucosamine, turmeric, CoQ10, and raw organic agave to accommodate the glycogen window and provide your body with a complete and clean recovery. Be sure to give them a try at lifeaidbevco.com, your local gym, or a grocery store near you.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to episode number 36 of the Feed Me, Fuel Me podcast. Mike Anders here with my co-host Jeff Thornton. And today our guest is Benjamin Bunn, Bunny of Cigar City CrossFit, former Army Ranger and entrepreneur. What's up, brother? How are you?
Hey, I'm well. Thanks for having me on the podcast. Once again, I'm honored to be interviewed by you. Like I said, I've been listening to your podcast for a long time, so I feel flattered to be a part of it.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Today we're gonna touch on the adventure that you've been on for the last. We met last month. That was the 7-month mark. So like 8 months, right?
Yeah,
since you got out.
It's coming up on 8 months. The gym has been open.
Okay, cool. And just a little background. We met in Clearwater Beach for Rush Club 009. You were half of Team Army, as I was half of Team Marine. We sadly lost to you fuckers, and in our head-to-head partner bout. But in that over the course of the weekend, we established a really solid friendship, and I think a lot of that goes back to obviously being veterans, but also and more so at this point being gym owners. But your story is super interesting because you retired on a Friday and opened the doors on a Monday. How is that?
Yeah, basically. So my last day in the Army was on March 31st of this year, and April 2nd I had the grand opening of my gym. And I got to tell you, if I could do it all over again, I might have given myself a little bit more lag time. But that being said, I positioned myself in such a way as I transitioned off active duty to ensure that I rolled right into the next thing. I didn't want to rest on my laurels, so to speak. When a rolling stone gathers no moss. So I planned it real carefully. And sit there 2 weeks out and think, hey, I'm going to open this gym. It was months and months of very careful, very diligent planning.
Nice, man. So expand on that a little bit. So you've actually done really, really well in the competitive CrossFit space, been to regionals and all that good stuff. Was the CrossFit gym, was Cigar City always in your vision, or did it kind of just manifest that way where the overarching goal was simply starting your gym?
Well, good question, right? And when I had gone back to school, I was enlisted for a while, right? When I was enlisted, I had spent some time in the special forces. I know you said Ranger at the beginning. We can thank Dave Sharp for putting out that bad poop. Was not a Ranger. Was in the special forces.
Ooh, so my bad. I apologize, brother. That sucks. My bad.
Hey, I don't know what all you Marine Corps guys. Anyways, I just assume you guys are all just like gruff and stuff. I don't even know what that's all about, right? But I know you guys have coarse language, and not to be getting And yeah, so I yeah, when I trained, I went to college, and I really, really got into CrossFit big time at that point in my life. And I dabbled with it, like kind of the remunitions or themes of CrossFit were found all over the place in the training and physical training for special operations. But it wasn't until I went to college that I just like started going to the main site every day. And I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna buy into this CrossFit stuff. And I liked it so much. I went to my first level 1 cert in 2008. It was like Pat Sherwood, Ginny Orr, Jeff Tucker, Mike G. These kind of like, CrossFit OGs were the ones actually teaching my level 1. And shortly thereafter, I opened up my own club affiliate on campus in the back of the ROTC building.
Wow,
and
nice.
and I did that for 2 years. I probably had about 30 to 50 regular members. I held classes daily. And I just kind of did that as a side gig when I was in college for fun, just because I was passionate about it. And I remember when I graduated from college, I was like, oh my God, like I could do this for a living. I love this. But at the time I was like, duty called. So, I went off back onto active duty as an infantry officer, but always in the back of my mind, I knew that there was going to come a day when I was going to get out and I was going to open a CrossFit gym. And I thought about it all the time. And it's kind of one of these things, thoughts manifest speech, manifest action, manifest reality. You know what I mean? And I thought about it all the time. I talked about it all the time. I was like, oh, it's going to have this bar. It's going to have this. It's going to have that. And then like, no bullshit. Fast forward, 5 years later, coming off active duty. And I have, a 15,000 square foot gym. It is the preeminent facility in Tampa. It's got an excellent community. I couldn't be happier for what I have right now, but none of it was coincidental. This was something that I thought and planned for years.
That's powerful.
That's beautiful, man. I can relate to that on a lot of levels. Coming from that military community, would you say that it, once you're in, because I know for our civilian listeners and stuff like that, we're as veterans held in such a high esteem, but would you say that once you're in, minus the deployment and the potential for dodging bullets part, that the military is actually a really safe place from a socialization standpoint, where everything is done for you? You have access to everything that you need. Your tooth hurts, you go to the dentist. You break a leg, you go see the medic. Everything's pretty much streamlined and taken care of for you. And when you start talking about getting out and doing bigger things as you have done, did you get any pushback or negative input on the pursuit of those goals?
Well, I'll tell you, right? And this is for any time that you want to start your own business, right? Or do something, different, right? And yeah, like I had people, the haters came out of the woodwork, and in some cases, it was from, where I would least expect it. I mean, good friends, family members, they were like, hey man, I hope you know what you're getting into, or hey man, good luck. That ubiquitous kind of firm good luck,
Right.
But moreover, right? Yeah. Hey, there were naysayers, but I'm going to tell you what else there was. There were people that absolutely believed in me 100%. There were people that saw my passion, could hear it in my voice. And I had people that had since retired from the military, started their own CrossFit gyms, people that were still in the military, and had side hustles, side businesses. And those people gave me all the support in the world, were willing to give me their time, opinion, in some cases their money. You know what I mean? I mean, so yeah, there were people out there that weren't necessarily supportive, right? And they were naysayers. But for every naysayer, right, for every person that wasn't supportive, I had two people in my life, that were more so supportive, right? And I think a lot of that has to do with being very deliberate about who you choose to spend your time with. You know what I mean? And I surrounded myself with individuals that had the entrepreneurial spirit, that were supportive, and that, were kind of dare to dream individuals, as opposed to somebody who was just like, hey man, good luck. I got this check coming to me on the 1st and the 15th. I'm going to ride that train until it's last stop. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. Did you, Before even going into the military, with your background, did you know you always wanted to be an entrepreneur of some sorts? Maybe not within the fitness space at that time, but was there always like an inkling growing up that you wanted to own your own business?
No, never. Right. When I was younger and people asked me what I wanted to be, like I was kind of a little bit of a nerd, right? If somebody asked me what I wanted to be, most kids were like, I want to be a firefighter, cop, ninja, Marine, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I want to be a comedian, or I want to be a writer, right? Or something, very, very odd and off-putting response from a 5 to 6 year old child, But even as I got older and became an adult, I never thought that I would be an entrepreneur. And it didn't actually dawn on me that I was an entrepreneur until about a month into opening the business, when I was like, oh my God, I'm running a business. At first I was just like, dude, I'm just running a CrossFit gym. I just work out a bunch and teach people to air squat, not knowing that you very much are running a business, right? And there are all these things associated with managing personnel, having a brick and mortar structure, you know what I'm saying? Installing the systems that are going to make your business successful for the long term, not just for that first 2 years, but past that, right? Mm-hmm. So it didn't even dawn on me that I wanted to be, could be, or would be good at being an entrepreneur until about like 30 days into it. And I was like, oh my God. And I still feel strange telling people I'm an entrepreneur, because usually when somebody tells me they're an entrepreneur, it's followed up by, a short list of questions about what type of essential oils I have in my life, or if I'd be interested in some full body rats,
It's true. It's so true, man. That's so true. When in making that transition to the gym, full-fledged, full-on, full-time, in the last 8 months, even though you were very diligent about who you selected as your business partner, the location of your gym, you ironed out all those logistical issues. What are like some of the highlights of the crazy shit that you didn't see coming over the last 8 months?
I'll tell you what, you just asked me a very serious question. You're getting ready to get a serious, very honest answer, right?
Let's get deep, bro.
Yeah. You talked about, the military takes care of a lot of aspects of your personal life, right? If I have a sore tooth, or if I have marital problems, or, if I miss a car payment or anything, there's a system in place to catch you. Right? You have a net at all times, because Uncle Sam's not going to let you fail, right? Because the second that you become a derelict husband, or fall behind on car payments, or have a tooth that has you laid up in bed, you are no longer combat effective, right?
Right.
That's it. You have just decreased the operational capacity of the force. So it bodes well for Uncle Sam to take care of your personal life in every aspect that they're able to do so. And they do a great job of it, cradle to grave. I came out of the Army, right, and I had a lot of plans. I had a professional plan, for my gym. I had plans for professional development, personal education. I even had this Excel spreadsheet, right, that spanned out to 15 years. Let me tell you, nowhere in that plan did it say anything about my personal life. Nowhere did it say get a dog, have a wife, raise children, right, go on daily bike rides. Never did I have a plan for my personal life. And I'm telling you right now, the biggest pitfall that's out there for new entrepreneurs, people transitioning from the Army, is to have a plan for your personal life. And I'm here to tell you, the first 6 months for me have been tumultuous, right? I have put a lot of my personal relationships in jeopardy, right? I have tested friendships, right? I've tested the patience of my friends, family, loved ones, the same people that I talked about that I surrounded myself with that were oh so supportive. I very much strained those relationships because I had no plan. I had no plan for my personal life. And any man with a wife who's been married for more than 6 months, or any man that has a child, any woman that has a child, any woman that's been married for more than 6 months, will tell you that if you think that you can plan for your life without making something or making a specific plan for your personal life, you're a damn fool, right? and if I could go back, I would have made an additional column, in that Excel spreadsheet that talked about the plans for my personal life. And since that time, I've become a Lululemon ambassador, and they are tremendous about personal development, particularly when it comes to like personal goals, professional goals. And I've spent a lot of time really focusing on what I want personally, right? What does my perfect day look like 10 years from now, right?
Yep.
And very, very little of that perfect day is there mention of my business or education or anything like that. It's actually just my personal stuff, man. Like what I
Right.
want my personal life to look like. So I've been working very hard to ensure that I'm making a plan for myself personally as well as professionally, because it's so important, right? It's an important piece of the puzzle. It's an important piece of the pie.
That's incredibly insightful. That's not the typical response. Usually the answers to that question are solely about business, and to be self-aware enough to know that is a critical element of your success. Because at the end of the day, that's kind of what we're in it for, right? Not necessarily to grow and to be better. And there has to be a plan for that. And so often, especially for us that are transitioning from the military to entrepreneurship in particular, it's very easy to confuse your professional and personal life, because we feel as we hit the ground running that they're one and the same, and they're not.
Yeah, and I'll tell you right now, most business plans, right? And like my partner and I had a very carefully delineated business plan. We got one from the Small Business Association, and then created another one on liveplan.com, and kind of merged the two of them. And I remember we were approaching lenders initially when we thought that we weren't, eventually we just bootstrapped it. We had a pretty sweet lender called the Chase Manhattan 15% zero APR of America lending organization. But before we decided to bootstrap it, we were approaching lenders, and I thought to myself, or I think now, oh my God, they should really put in a separate column for personal life, right? Because hey, here's all my financials, right? These are my pay stubs from the last X number of years. This is how I think we're gonna thrive as a business. But oh, by the way, there should be a column. Hey, by the way, I'm not an unscrupulous bastard. This is what my personal life looks like. Trust me with your monies, but like business plans should have things like that in it. You should account for your personal life, right? And although I don't think any of us become entrepreneurs because we're like sitting there thinking, hey, I'm going to make it big and drive a BMW X6. No, I do it because I want freedom, right? I want to do what I'm passionate about. I want to monetize my hobby, right? And enjoy my day-to-day life and live a life that is both authentic, right? And intentional, right? And money does not matter to me. And what really matters to me are the things that I am passionate about, doing the things that I love, and having a personal life that's enriched through lasting relationships, and mentorship, fellowship, community, all these things we talk about on the floor all the time. But you have to integrate that into your personal life. And if you're not thinking about that when you're opening your own business, my man, you're foolish. You're missing the mark.
That's powerful. And when you're building your business, I know you mentioned you might have had some strained relationships as you're building your business. It's tough because you say you're trying to focus on building something that you're very passionate about, but at the same time, trying to find that balance and that middle ground of work, play, and having friends at the same time. It's difficult. How do you go about structuring that in your life to where, is there any balance for you, or is it just focus on the business first, get things where they need to be, and then sort of build your friends up simultaneously with you, or build friends within that group? How do you keep that balance in your personal relationships?
So there's a pretty popular and very common analogy that I use to kind of take stock day to day and balance and finding that balance, right? Like so, at the beginning and end of every day, I have glass balls and I have rubber balls, okay, and I juggle them, right? I juggle them throughout the day, okay. And when the day comes to a close, all right, I can drop, the rubber balls, because they're going to bounce and I can pick them back up tomorrow. Nothing's going to happen to them. Those glass balls, I cannot drop them, right? Cannot drop those balls because they'll get chipped, right? They'll crack, and in some cases they'll completely shatter. You know what the rubber ball is? My 6 p.m. class. I can just cancel 6 p.m. class. Like, sorry, Cigar City CrossFit, it's canceled. I gotta go. That's all there is to it. Something has come up. 6 p.m. class will happen tomorrow. None of those members will quit. Somebody's going to be pissed off at me. I might even get a nasty gram, but more than likely they'll all understand and nobody will have an issue whatsoever. But what's not a glass ball is like my relationship with my mother. Or what is a glass ball, excuse me, is my relationship with my mother. That does not bounce back, right? And what does not bounce back is, my relationship with my girlfriend. You know what I mean? What does not bounce back, right, is my integrity. So if you compromise those things at the end of the day, if you drop those things, they can chip, they can crack, and they can shatter. So you have to nurture the things that are truly important, right, and the things that might not bounce back. And what I did is I sort of treated some of my very close relationships like they were made of rubber, right? And I abused those relationships in that way where I was just like, I just focused all the time on the business. I was like, oh my God, all I could focus on was how many people are showing up this morning. I got the schedule right. Or I would be sitting home at the dinner table, trying to figure out what the programming was. You know what? That could wait. I could just go in tomorrow, write up on the whiteboard to plot a mashup, and as long as I coach it passionately with enthusiasm, everybody's going to have a great time. I could put anything out. I could put like 100 jumping jacks on the whiteboard, and as long as I fill the class with jokes, make everybody laugh, and everybody enjoys themselves, nobody's going to care. But what isn't going to be there at the end of the day are some of those relationships if you ruin it, right? So glass balls and rubber balls, right? You have to decide which are the things that really matter and which things don't. And at the end of the day, the things that really don't matter, hey man, drop them. They're going to bounce back.
I really like that.
So what was the turning point for you? What was the tipping point where you solidified what was rubber and what was glass? Like, hey, if you don't mind sharing, what happened? There had to be a catalyst there.
Yeah, no. So ongoing, right? Ongoing. Man, you're asking personal questions. I don't care. I'm going to talk about it. So I had a girlfriend at the time that I cared very deeply for. The two of us were together for a real long time. And she was one of the people that just unquestionably supported me. She's like, you are smart, you're passionate, you can do whatever you want, right, kind of thing. And she came from a place of positivity, great girl. And throughout the entirety of my transition from the Army to the opening of the gym, she was there with me through the whole process, right? Towards the end, we moved together to Tampa, and like, no joke, like, hey man, like brand new entrepreneur, making a huge gamble, you know what I'm saying, moved to Tampa. Like I was living with my mom at age 34. That's no joke. Full transparency, I've since transitioned into a swanky loft apartment. Thank you. At the time, I was living with Mama Dukes. It was like me, my girlfriend, my mom, and my sister all under the same roof, right? And the strain of the business and a lot of other factors like piled on top, and like the two of us split up, right? And she like moved down to Tampa to be with me for this business, right? Wow. And it wasn't until months after the fact, that I really took stock in everything that had happened, and took a step back and realized that, I had kind of treated her like a rubber ball, you know what I'm saying? And what I should have been doing was putting that relationship first because, oh, by the way, she was there from day one, right? And we since, have done a great deal of reconciliation, right? And we're good friends now. And we're able to, spend time with each other and we can kind of talk about everything that happened, but that being said, that was the catalyst for that event. I wrecked a couple relationships trying to start my own business. And that's real shit I'm talking right now. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely, man.
Yeah. And it was difficult, right? And it was painful. And it took that kind of event for me to realize like, oh my God, priorities might be a little out of whack.
Sure, man. And it's extremely difficult because, empathizing with you, you're so focused on, like you were saying, how many members you have, what's the next phase in the evolution of your business. Because there's a lot of things. It's kind of like when you start training for the first time. There's a lot of gains that happen really, really fast, and then just getting the doors open, getting the classes going, getting people onboarded, blah, 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 blah. And then you kind of hit this stagnation if you're not progressive in your business plan. And as you get it's easy to let things go by the wayside, i.e. your personal relationships and stuff, because they have been there with you and told you it was a good idea and were totally supportive and with you the whole way. So it's very easy to take those relationships for granted when it's super easy to, get rid of the naysayers and the people that don't agree with your life path. And they're telling you to, maybe even from, a place of safeguarding and, I've been there and failed perspective, telling you that, giving you that sarcastic good luck. It's easy to, pitch those people away, but that the people that are your foundation, that will catch you when you fall. It's very challenging to keep that in your forethought and realize that they are not to be taken for granted.
Yeah, and surrounding yourself with the right kind of people, these like kind of positive people, these people that are going to support you. I'm here to tell you, it is one of the most important pieces of the puzzle, right? It's having that support network. And it's okay to say, like, raise your hand and say, hey, listen, I'll go it alone. But you really, if you can avoid it, if you can find that support network, if you can find those people that are going to be there for you, it makes the world of difference, right? It means everything. And when you find those people that are willing to rally around you, right, you cannot take that stuff for granted, right? They're putting so much faith in you. You got to do them a solid, meet them halfway, return that favor, and put them first on occasion too.
Totally. When you're outside of your personal network, your family, your girlfriend, on a professional level, like, what policies and procedures have you instituted? That's the military coming out in me. Have you instituted to kind of siphon those people and keep the energy positive in your inner circle?
Great question, right? And this is, a lot of like when you go to a new CrossFit gym, you're going to ask them, like, what makes your gym different? What are they going to say? Coaching and community, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, thanks, and I'm like, well, please tell me about how your coaching is better. Tell me about how your community is better. I can tell you how my coaching is better, okay? Look, I have a 30-day intern period, right? Those coaches have to pass that gate, right, in order to even start shadowing classes, right? And then once they do, they have to shadow at least 6 classes, right? And then they're going to get kind of assessed in terms of, I'm going to sit there and watch that class, assess it, and come up with feedback, for an additional like 3 classes. We have a coach's manual that we make them read, cover to cover, and part of that covers, how to conduct themselves on the floor, community, all these different kind of things. But really, that entire process, right, isn't so much. I mean, listen, I want to provide, clear left and right, expectations, right? I want to bracket these kids in and make sure that they can be as professional as they can be. I want to ensure that they're set up for success and that they're going to like learn and grow. But at the same time, it is a 2-way filter, right? That intern period is there to ensure that they're the right fit for the community. They got the right kind of personality, you know what I mean? And that they're going to be able to mesh well with that community. Because let's be honest, I didn't start a CrossFit gym so that I could hang out with a bunch of assholes. You know what I'm saying? I want to spend my time, getting physically fit, getting other people physically fit, and hanging out with like-minded individuals. So we kind of created an intern process that was specifically designed to not just professionally develop our coaches, but also ensure that we've got the right people in place. And it's taken me all of 7 to 8 months to build the right kind of team. And we had some people that we brought on early on that we had to let go of, unfortunately. But I'm not the guy that hires fast and fires slow. It's the opposite, right? I hire slow and I fire fast. Okay, I give you very clear expectations. If you fail to meet them, hey, it's no big deal. It's not personal. Actually, it's not like we're drinking beer together or something like that, or I'm dating your sister. Although in some cases we might drink beer together, and I might be dating your sister. That being said, like if you fail to meet those expectations, right? If you fail me, if you fail my community, right? I will promptly show you the door, right? And that's not because I'm selfish. Well, maybe it is a little bit, but I care a great deal about my community. I'll do whatever I can to safeguard it. And part of that is ensuring that I've got the right kind of people in the right place. And building that team is so, so important. And the team I have now is phenomenal, right? And they're all on board. We all have a cohesive kind of a vision of what success is moving forward. And it's been the most important thing. And the most integral part of that is my business partner, Michael. And he has absolutely been invaluable. I could not do this without him. You know, he is the flip side of the same coin. You know, everything that I'm bad at, he's good at. I mean, we complement each other in such a way. And I would strongly recommend to anybody getting ready to open up a CrossFit gym, if you can find a tremendous business partner, man, do it. You know what I'm saying? Find that good partner, because it'll help so much.
Did you even entertain the idea of wearing all the hats as you got the business running?
Oh yeah. Initially I was like, I was going to be the one man band, that guy, Mary Poppins, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Gonna be me, man. And it was funny, even after Mike and I started our initial dialogue about becoming partners, I was even still thinking that, you know, Mike was just basically going to be a GM or something like that. And boy, howdy, that's the craziest shit I've ever thought of in my life, right? I cannot imagine if I didn't have Mike right now. And I will tell you, like, you could probably do it. You could probably open a gym, right, that had between 50 and 75 members, and you could wear all the hats for a while. But let me tell you what, you would not be getting a lot of sleep, right? Like, you would be one miserable ass Muldoon, you know what I mean? And I'll tell you, at some point in time as a business owner, you have to let go of some of those things, and you got to kind of push off some of these duties and responsibilities to other people. And Mike and I right now are taking the time to figure out what can truly only be done by us, and we're pushing everything else off onto our coaches. And I say pushing off, but what I really mean is we're empowering our coaches, right? Because really it's more their community now than it is ours. And that is the natural progression, I think.
Do you feel, that's awesome, man. Do you feel with your military background, you mentioned you built a structure of a 30-day internship and surrounding yourself with somebody who has a skill set that's different than yours. Do you feel that military background has helped give you that self-awareness and insight to sort of put those keys in place to help others succeed and help your business succeed?
Very much so, right? And, you know, I don't often, like, hang my hat on my military career. You know, like, if you go to my website, it doesn't say, like, Bunn, like, former Green Beret, you know, like, join his online push-up program or anything. You know, I don't hang my hat on my military experience. Yeah. That being said, though, everything that I do to professionally develop our coaches, I have stolen from the Army, right? I do quarterly counseling for all of my employees. During that time, we talk about current performance, their goals moving forward, set plans of actions for how to ensure that they're meeting their goals or improving in the areas where they need to improve. And no joke, the counseling form that I use is a 1067. It's like a no joke DA form from the military, because I'm not going to try and reinvent the wheel. That thing works excellently, right? And professional development was such a huge part of the military, and particularly when I was an infantry officer, and I have absolutely used the things that I learned, managing personnel, managing young men with guns, and just really kind of transition that right into my current position. You know, now, of course, there are things that I have since learned from other organizations in terms of professional development, goal setting, you know, these kind of things that you can kind of help guide, you know, employees along the path, you know, things like, you know, Good to Great or the Strength Finder book and things like this have all been tremendous tools in helping my employees like kind of learn and grow. But by far and wide, the majority of the kind of tactics that I use, if you will, have come right out of the military, man. That's right awesome. Out of the military.
Yeah, because that's what it sounded like to me. Because like you said, you're modeling success that's a system that's already been there for several years and gotten, I don't know how many number of people through and has successful careers. So I think it's very smart that you're able to have enough insight and self-awareness to leverage that system and your background, whether you know it or not, that you've been able to implement in your business. That's huge. And I think that's why you're so successful. That's pretty awesome that you have that awareness and you're able to structure and model things of success already.
Yeah. And I'd have been foolish not to.
Yeah.
I think too many people get into the entrepreneurial space and fall in love with the idea or the misnomer that they have an original concept. You can take, just the Army is not CrossFit, but there are elements and, forms even that the Army utilizes that you can repurpose for the success of your business. And that's one thing that a mentor told me a long time ago, a catchphrase that kind of stuck with me over the years was, don't reinvent, repurpose, and it'll make your life so much easier.
Yeah. And hey, I'm not out here trying to discover fire. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to light a few of my own candles. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I am more than happy to beg, borrow, and steal from every organization that I've been a part of that's been successful. And it's in some cases it's the United States Army, and in some cases it's Lululemon, Barbell Shrugged, Barbell Business, I've listened to every single episode, your podcast, startup, like all the, books, podcasts, organizations, beg, borrow, and steal, put that stuff together and make it your own, right? Nobody's, I guarantee you, if I walk up to, General Mattis, new SecDef and be like, hey man, I've pirated a lot of different things from the military and used it to be successful out in the civilian quadrant, he's not going to be like, you rat bastard. He's going to pat me on the back and say, good on you, bro. And probably like, drink scotch and continue cleaning his 1911 or whatever that maniac is doing right now.
Right. I think that's an issue of pride and ego that keeps people from doing that and kind of evolving as a person, not even a business owner, but taking things that have already been done, are tried and proven, that work, and applying them rather than trying to reinvent it and put your own name on it. Because you're absolutely right. If you came to me and said that you implemented something that you heard about CrossFit PHX at Cigar City, my reaction would not be, "Oh, you thief, you lying bastard." I would commend you on that. You know what I mean? Because there's something out there that's already being done that you like, that you find a fit for in your community, and you've taken it and run with it. And likewise, when you're talking with your mentors who are instrumental in guidance and progression, they don't tell you to, here's my idea, now I need you to go reinvent the same thing your way. No, I've already done that. That's what I'm here for. Go do what I have done for you.
Yeah. And to that effect, I think to a degree, right, particularly in Tampa has a lot of great CrossFit gyms, but I've done a great job of communicating with some of our sister gyms in the area, and I have open dialogues with the majority of the owners, and we bounce ideas off of each other. And when I say something like, "Yeah, hey, this is my coach's manual," and they're like, "Oh man, that's a great idea. I'm gonna get a coach's manual too." I'm not like, "Oh shucks," I'm in it now. I'm gonna lose all my members. Like, no, man. Like, this is a town of 300,000 people. I think there's like 10 CrossFit gyms, like in the greater downtown Tampa area of a city of about 270,000. Hey, man, my cup overfloweth. This shit is like Starbucks. I can open one up right across the street from the other, because you know what? Everybody wants a sip of this stuff. You know what I mean? Mm. And if all the gyms in the area continue to raise the bar, if all of them have a professional pedigree that denotes, enriched memberships, right? And they're safe, and everybody's doing well, it's not just good for me, it's good for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, my competition isn't a CrossFit gym. My competition is LA Fitness, Jack. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm in competition with, you know?
Where does that abundance mentality come from for you? Is that innate in you, or has that been a lifetime of becoming that?
Part of it is me just faking it till I make it. Sometimes I really am worried about the CrossFit gym down the street. That being said, no, you know, it was a math problem for me, right? I really did. I looked at the demographics in my area, right? 270,000 people in the greater Tampa area, 110,000 in the neighboring St. Petersburg, another 130,000 in the neighboring Brandon, right? That's just in a 12, if I drop a pin and draw a 12-mile circle, you know what I'm saying? Oh, by the way, I have people that drive more than 12 miles to come to my gym, okay? So I know that I'm operating in an area of in upwards of 400,000 people. You know, I want to say 73% of those people are between the ages of 18 and 41 or something like that, or, you know, millennials or whatever you want to call it. And I want to say 14% of all Americans have ever had a gym membership. Only 14% have ever had a gym membership. Anybody got a calculator handy? Who's got an abacus? You want to run the quick numbers on what that market looks like? So it was just a simple math problem. I know for a fact, right? There are people out there, right, that want to join your gym. And it's just up to you. It doesn't have anything to do with the other gyms. You don't have to worry about what anybody else is doing. All you have to do is focus on yourself, right? And it's there for you, right? And then also just everything that I've ever read, listening, like I said, listening, you know, to Barbell Business, you know, Barbell Shrugged, you know, everything that I've ever read about entrepreneurship, professional development, and making a successful business, they're going to tell you over and over and over again, do not worry about the other guy. Just worry about yourself, right? And if you raise that bar, you know, and in doing so, you raise the quality of the entire market, right? Then, hey, it's only going to benefit you in the long run. And I just have to believe that everybody is not saying that out of coincidence. I think there has to be truth to it, right?
100%, man. That's huge. That's huge.
What do you mentioned you listen to a lot of podcasts, Barbell Mastermind, things like that. What do you do outside of podcasting for personal development? I mean, and I'm talking about, do you seek mentorship outside of like personal coaching, where you have one-on-one coaches, seminars, books, things like that? What do you do outside of that?
So outside of the podcast piece, right? I've been real big into just personal development books, and hey man, this is ongoing for me. I will be the first one to tell you, you know, I'm some kind of rat bastard, right? I am totally a work in progress, right? I am imperfect, right? There are a lot of things that I could stand to improve. I know where my flaws are, right? And I work on them daily, and it's difficult. It's hard, nasty work, you know, and it's difficult to look in the mirror and know, like, this is my issue, right? And then accept that, still find a way to love yourself and to move forward and try and improve, right?
Right.
And you know, a lot of times you cannot do it on your own. You just can't, man. You just can't. Big for professional development for me has been my relationship with Lululemon. Part of their process for new employees, for ambassadors, management personnel, is they're huge into personal development, right? Once you join the organization, you do a vision and goals worksheet where you talk about your perfect day 10 years from now, and then set goals for both the year, 5-year, and then 10-year mark, you know, things that you want to achieve. That's been huge for me. They have most of their employees do Strength Finder. Man, they even send some of them to Landmark, if you're familiar with that center, right? Yeah. I mean, so they are huge into professional development. You know, so if you think the Lululemon is just about selling yoga pants, I'm here to tell you, Jack, it's about way more than that, right? And then beyond that, like, hey, no joke, man. Like, once again, you guys are asking questions that are going to have hard answers, brother. I see a VA appointed therapist once a week, man. You know what I'm saying? And I talk to that guy about my problems on the reg. And it's so important, right? It's so important to have a coach or somebody who is a third-party individual who can take an objective look at your life, you know, figure out where the real problems are and help you work through them, right? And then part of that, right, like I said, is being able to look yourself in the mirror, understand what your problems really are, right? still love yourself despite of that, and then work through them, right? So I have a plethora of individuals that are helping me grow right now outside of my own, being left to my own devices, listening to podcasts, reading books. I've got a lot of people in my life that are helping me learn and grow, and I'm here to tell you I'm so lucky to have that. So lucky.
See, and that's what's awesome, because I know you mentioned Landmark, and a friend of mine, he was a Lululemon ambassador like yourself, and he went to Landmark out here in Scottsdale, and I attended the last day of the event with them, where they're sort of bring the friend with you, just show them how great the experience has been.
Yeah.
And it's awesome that you mentioned that, because at the Landmark, they're talking about there's the stuff you know, there's the stuff you don't know. And then the part where Landmark was special, they're saying there's the stuff you don't know that you don't know, and that's your blind spots in life. And they're just talking about, to be able to uncover that, you need to put people and build a structure and a system in your life to where you have people give you those hard questions, so you can start peeling back those layers of, why do I have a subconscious thought, like, why do I think like that? And they start diving into what issues happened in your life to make you think the way you do or act the way you did. And I think that's very powerful that you said, you talk to a VA and things like that, because without that type of guidance or mentorship from somebody giving you the inside look or outside looking in perspective, you'll never find those within yourself because you always look past that, I would think.
Yeah. And it's difficult, right? To truly know where your faults lie. Like you said, sometimes there's blind spots, and I know when I talk to my therapist, or when I've talked to, some of my mentors at Lululemon, they'll inevitably mention things that I know are issues, and then every now and again they'll bring something up. I'm like, oh, that's an issue, or like, oh, hey, this isn't normative behavior. You know what I'm saying? But I'm a therapist. I'm like, oh, you mean like when I wait in line for the movies, like I shouldn't have like an elevated heart rate and shallow breath and be freaking out? No, bro, that's not okay. You should get a dog or something, like this kind of stuff, right? But if, like you said, if you don't know, you don't know. But you have to be able to be willing and open to criticism and change, right?
Yeah.
You got to be able to take that good, hard, long, honest look at yourself, right? But also like understand that just because you're flawed, right, does not make you Hannibal Lecter. It doesn't mean you're a serial killer, right? You're just a human person with flaws, just like everybody else, and you've got room to grow. Whoever said people don't change, you know what I'm saying? They're wrong, Jack. People do change. We're always learning. We're always growing, and that potential is always there. But it's realizing it, right? And it's climbing that mountain. Sometimes it can be tough, right? It's cool to have friends, though. It's cool if you got somebody to help you shoulder the load. You know what I mean?
Totally, man. So now that you find yourself in a mentorship capacity above and beyond, what you've done for yourself, is it part of your method to impart goals, or at least give people something to shoot your coaches, your disciples, something to shoot for, or do you kind of guide them in a process of self-discovery where they establish their own goals?
A little bit of both, right? So sometimes I'll give them leader-directed goals, where I'm like, this is what I'd like to see you improve at. But a lot of times everybody on my staff has been through the vision and goals exercise. Tell me about what your perfect day looks like 10 years from now. Then, part of it, and moving forward, we're going to start setting those 5-year, and 10-year goals. And what I'd like to do is have them up right in the office where everybody could see them. And as time goes by, you start knocking out those goals, just mark them right off the list. And so a little bit of both, right? Some are going to be leader directed. Hey, like I might have goals for them as a coach. I might have goals for them that I see that they don't necessarily know, that maybe they don't even see their own potential, for that as of yet. But then also a lot of it is their personal goals, right? I want to know what their hopes, their dreams are, right? And if you ever have done like a vision and goals exercise, like, man, it's a motive. Putting down what you actually want, right, on a piece of paper, it's an emotional thing. Very rarely will you get somebody to read out their perfect day scenario or to look over their vision and goals and not get emotional about it, right? Because it's such a personal thing.
Well, they say that when you write it down, you make it real.
Yeah, that is real, right? Like we talked about earlier, like thought manifests speech, which manifests action, which just manifests real things.
Right. I mean, those are the laws of the universe, the law of attraction, the quote unquote secret. We were talking about this a couple episodes ago with Mark Arcee, one of our guests, and he says that if everybody knew about it, they'd be doing it. That's what makes it the secret, because everybody knows the secret, but it's the application of it. Just like knowledge is power. That's not really how it goes. You can know a lot of shit, but if you're not out there acting and applying that information, you're doing no service to anybody.
Yeah, very, very true.
And from a perspective of mindset, I always find that, or we always find that really interesting, is because setting your intention and your goals before you know it's actually going to happen or how you're even going to go about achieving it is one of those powerful things. So is there a daily thing you do or monthly visualization process, whether it's writing your goals daily or monthly, to keep you on track and to sort of just continue to keep the hunger in your system to where, like, okay, I know where I want to be. I may not be there yet. I don't know how I'm going to get there. But do you do daily practices or monthly practices that keep you on track of where you want to be?
For sure. I have a notebook, right? And I write a list in that thing every single day, right? It's part of my morning ritual. Whether or not I get it done in the first 5 minutes of my morning or the first 30 minutes of my morning, it happens, right? I write down a list of things, right? I put little boxes next to them. And as I knock them out throughout the day, I check those bad boys off, right? And I'm a big list guy, right? My vision and goals worksheet, it says it's got my perfect day on it, 10 years from now. And then to the right of it, it's got, my 1 year goals, my 5 year goals, and my 10-year goals. And that thing is no joke, hanging up inside of the Hyde Park Lululemon location, right? Or the Lululemon Hyde Park location. And there's already been a couple things that I've like marked right off the list, right? Without even having expected to have done it. Wow. I just like put down goals down there and just accidentally, achieved them, right? And maybe it was because, like you said, like law of the universe, law of attraction, right? I said it out loud. I wrote it down. I talked about it, and it manifested. But yeah, I'm a big list guy, right? And I believe in it. And it's not just like my daily list, and it's not just my vision and goals. Dude, I got a whiteboard up in my office that hangs right behind my head, looms over me, right? And it has, things that sit there waiting for me to accomplish them, right? And if I don't knock them out, they just sit there and haunt me, just like in that, right there at the back. So yeah, I'm big on writing those things, and then I'm big on knocking them off. Like if I could ever clear that whiteboard completely, catharsis, right? It would feel right, but that's part of the struggle.
That's interesting. When you set your goal, do you put deadlines to your goals, or is it open-ended?
Sometimes it's open-ended. I do have some that I've deadlined, right? I put some very much like I know that when I do event planning for the gym, I absolutely set it for times, right? And I know I understand the importance of setting a backstop to a lot of your goals because it's a forcing function. It'll help you accomplish them in short order. But I also know that there's danger there too, right? Because if you attach that date, right, that date time group to that goal, and then you don't get it, sometimes it can be very disheartening. So it takes a little bit of personal awareness to know, in good faith what you should and should not attach time hack to, right? Mm-hmm. But it's important, right? Like at the end of the day, if you want to make something happen, you just need to put it on the damn calendar. You know what I'm saying?
It's true. It's the honest truth. And the reason why I asked that is because we had a guest, Forrest, who mentioned he doesn't set deadlines to his goals, and it was an interesting perspective for me because I've always been sort of detail oriented or deadline oriented when it comes to setting goals, and you're not always going to hit those deadlines. But when he mentioned his perspective behind not setting a deadline, just letting it come as it comes, it's sort of a freeing thought in that process, because like you mentioned, you're not having that deadline haunt you if you miss it. It's one of those things that you're going to continue to develop and grow into it, and then when it comes, it's one of those things that's like, wow, I didn't know I achieved that. Okay, now let's continue to move on and move to bigger and better things or better visions in my life. So that's why I asked that question, man. That's awesome.
So moving forward for you, what are some of the what's on your list? What's next for you?
I've kind of did a lot of personal stuff, got a lot of personal goals knocked out in real short order, right? Very much wanted to increase my role with Lululemon, and now I'm an ambassador, right? I very much wanted to do some charity work. I knew that service was still a huge part of my life, as I took a pretty big role with the 11th Warrior charity event.
Yep.
Continued to drum up some individual support in the city of Tampa, right, and have raised a great deal of money for Companions for Heroes independently of that event. As a result of kind of the good works there and having raised that money, I got voted onto the board of directors for that charity. So now I'm a sitting board member for that charity. Moving forward, it looks like I'll also be working with the Yellow Ribbon Fund, continuing to work with Team Red, White, and Blue Local, helping kind of train polyadaptive athletes, volunteering, coaching and time, Team Red, White, and Blue to an Eagle that wants to walk through the door on specified dates and times, and continue to volunteer my time to the University of Tampa, my alumni, right? Both the school I graduated from and my commissioning source. So, I've knocked off a lot of personal goals. So I want to refocus on the gym. Moving forward, I want a membership of 150. I know that's a big goal. We're just north of 100 now at 8 months, I want that to be more like 150, and I want to achieve that in under a year, right? I want to have programs in place, events in place that really deliver like just quality and authentic experience for my athletes, right? Like I really want it to be the best hour of their day, right? I want it to be this place where they can come and have fun, make friends and just like get results, right? So I really want to focus heavily on the gym and making sure that we have everything that we could need or want, and really delivering something, genuine, something authentic, something great to my athletes. Moving forward, I want to make sure that the CrossFit Open is like a really positive and fun experience for them. We got like a lot of cool plans for that. Like my partner and I are going to like have a draft where we draft all the athletes, and we're going to do Friday Night Lights. And
nice.
All this great stuff. So, I really want to focus on the gym. I have some secondary goals. I want to make a run at regionals now that there's a 35 to 40-year-old age group, right? So I'm excited about that. I'm on a 10-week program that's basically preparing me for the Open that my partner has put together. He's working very closely with OPEX, and he's out there getting his OPEX certification. It was actually just in Arizona this past weekend at the seminar for programming.
Right on.
Yeah, so he came back with some great stuff, some great information. So I'm putting my life into his hands for the next 10 weeks and going to prepare for the Open. So that's kind of where I'm at now. I just really want to focus on the business, right? Get fit and just have a good time.
Good shit, man. Congratulations on all that you have accomplished, and we truly appreciate you taking the time at this early hour in your busy day as you start to knock out everything on your list. So before we get out of here this morning, want to ask you a two-part question. You can answer it on any level, physically, spiritually, mentally. But what's one thing that you do every day to feed yourself and get that fire going? And then the add-on to that is something that you do every day to fuel yourself and keep that motivation to carry over late into the day and into the next morning.
I'll tell you, right? We touched on it a little bit here and there throughout this talk, right? But a big thing that we talked about, right, was understanding, who you are, really being able to see both the good things and the bad things, right? And something that I'm really learning to do, right, especially in the aftermath of a lengthy military career, now changing, changing pace, and it's strange, right? Because your identity is so intrinsically attached to being a soldier. Like back in the day, it was easy if somebody was like, what do you do? I'm like, too easy, man. I'm Ben Bunn, Green Beret. Right? I'm Ben Bunn, infantry officer, right? There was no delineation between who I was and what I did, right? They were the same thing. Now there is, right? Now there is. And it's been tough, right? And like self-love, right? Self-actualization, right? Understanding who you are, what your faults are, right? But then also what your strengths are has been so difficult, right? In that transition period. So every day, right, I try and take stock, right, of the good things that I've done, and I try and have a very deliberate gratitude practice. And whether I'm giving gratitude to myself, giving gratitude to another person, or just taking stock, right? Asking yourself, what was the best part of my day, right? What was the best part of today, right? That really feeds me, right? And kind of keeps me going. And that fuel, right? That fuel is taking deliberate steps every day to be better, right? To be better. And sometimes it means, hey, like I'm going to write a blog article that's going to deliver great content to my athletes. Sometimes it means, hey, I'm going to write a personal letter to somebody that did me a kindness, and I'm going to hand that to him. Or, hey, maybe one of my coaches covered down on something today, right? And hey, I got him a gift certificate for Lululemon. I'm going to hand that to him and thank him for all his hard work, right? It's as simple, or it's just as simple as taking 2 hours to train. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. To do CrossFit. So that's kind of how I handle it. That's how I feed myself. It's how I fuel myself. And it's how I move forward on a day-to-day basis.
That's awesome, man. I really love that. And where can the community here go to support you, maybe whether it's your personal brand, your business, and any initiatives you have going? I know you're a part of a lot of things. Where can we go support you?
You can check out CigarCityCrossFit.com, right? That's always an excellent portal to the life and times of Cigar City CrossFit. We've got a couple downloadable ebooks there too on nutrition and fitness, if anybody's interested. And then of course you can always follow us at Cigar City CrossFit, or you can follow me at Coach_Bunny, right, on Instagram to kind of see the day-to-day shenanigans, whether it's my personal life or if it's what's happening in the gym. I can tell you, if you follow either, you're bound to see me in an American flag Speedo.
Boom.
Love that.
Mic drop. Hey, yeah. For all of you guys listening out there, we really appreciate you allowing us to be a part of your journey, as we are ever grateful for you allowing us to be a part of yours. And Coach Bunny, thanks for the time, brother. We really appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate it, gentlemen. Thanks again so much for having me on.
Yeah, most definitely. And until next time, guys, feed me, fuel me.
And that'll do it for today's episode with our special guest, Benjamin Bunn. If you want to see everything that Benjamin has going and with his gym at Cigar City CrossFit, please go check out the full show notes at feedmefuelme.com. Also, be sure to connect with us on social media, including Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, and Twitter at feedmefuelme. We would love to hear from each and every one of you. We're excited to announce the Feed Me Fuel Me Summit on July 10th, 2017 in Sedona, Arizona. Our keynote speaker will be Forrest Lustos. If you haven't had a chance to hear Forrest's story yet, be sure to check out his episode, number 19, Mastering the Superficial and Becoming Exceptional. It's guaranteed to fire you up and make you take action. We've released event details on the website and will continue to update them as the event nears closer. Please check the website, feedmefuelme.com, click on the link 2017 Summit, buy your ticket, and we'll see you there. If you found this episode inspiring in any way, please rate, comment, share, and subscribe so we can continue on this journey together. Also, be sure to share with your friends and family on social media, including Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, and Twitter, or any other social platforms that you use. We really appreciate you spending your time with us today and allowing us to join you on your journey. We would love to hear your feedback on this episode, as well as guests and topics for future episodes. To end this episode, we would love to leave you with a quote by Gary W. Keller. Work is a rubber ball. If you drop it, it will bounce back. The other 4 balls, family, health, friends, integrity, are made of glass. If you drop one of these, it will be irrevocably scuffed, nicked, perhaps even shattered. Thank you again for joining us, and we will catch you on the next episode.